Listen here, Anarchitty. Capitalism fueled the Industrial Revolution. It fueled the Technological Revolution. And even today, it creates more innovations than any other system. How can some little anarchist commune compare in any way to the innovative force that is capitalism? Good question. First of all, capitalism pushing innovation is basically a big lie. A lot like a lot of the other lies that they tell you. Capitalists don't create goods to innovate society, they create goods that they know are going to sell. For instance, in the energy sector, there is a vast number of green energy resources that could be used, but capitalists choose not to because it would lose big oil a ton of money. Instead of innovating and creating delicious, healthy food, they find new ways of making food with cheaper and cheaper goods, and pack them full of sugar, fats, and salt so people buy more of them. Instead of innovating modern medicine by solving medical problems, they create drugs that allow the problems to persist and only treat the symptoms. Or if they do come up with a cure for some disease, more often than not, the medication will be hiked up more than most people would be able to afford. Capitalism has really no incentive to build the best possible product, or any reason to make the healthiest food possible, because if you did, a lot of those things just wouldn't make money. It takes a lot of time and resources and energy to make good, quality, healthy food that everybody can enjoy. And really, the profit margins on that is very small. And making the best possible, highest quality goods, in the long run, really doesn't make any profit whatsoever. Capitalist businesses have to continue to sell their product or else they go under. If they sell some amazing, brilliant, innovative product that lasts forever and never needs to be replaced, then the people will only buy it once, and that business will go out of business. But if they make an inferior product with cheaper materials, cheaper labor, and it breaks within a certain time period, then the capitalist is guaranteed that every quarter the consumer will have to buy a new product. And there are real-world examples of this. In the construction industry, a very well-known brand used to be Brown & Boggs. They created a lot of sheet metal working equipment that lasted forever. It was high quality, durable, and basically indestructible. And, since the machines never had to be replaced, it resulted in them being unable to compete in the market, and they had to stop making most of those machines entirely. Some of their equipment built in the 1800s is still in use today. They weren't able to continue to sell more and more products, because the products that they did sell were amazing. But now, if you make tools with some plastic parts and cheaper materials, they'll break more often, and they'll need to be replaced. Obviously, the same thing goes with your cell phone. The advancement between the original iPhone and your modern-day smartphone really isn't all that much. In fact, I've known people to have the third-generation iPhone right up until about 3 or 4 years ago. Sure, some of the technology might be antiquated, the camera might not be the best in the world, but the damn thing was reliable. And you didn't need a bunch of ridiculous add-ons just so you could charge the thing or listen to music. And let's not forget that the coolness factor of a product is also a main selling feature. The newer the product, the shinier it is, the better a lot of people believe that it might be. When in reality, it's just the same product with a few tweaks. Some of the time, in fact most of the time, the new innovative product happens to be inferior to its predecessors. And in fact, it kind of has to be. The rate at which money needs to be made every quarter when it comes to these products must always increase. So that inevitably means cutting costs, cutting labor, cutting materials, and more frequently in recent years, adding DLC or add-ons or peripherals that you need to buy just so you can use the product the way that it was meant to be used in the first place. Usually we would look at that sort of thing in capitalism as being an inefficiency in the system. But really, it's gearing towards being the most efficient thing possible. Most efficient to gain more money at least, not create the best possible product. And even in several instances throughout history, amazing technologies were stopped and mothballed because it could possibly take some profit away from whatever consumer good was dominating the market at the time. For instance, digital audio could have existed all the way back during the times when we still had cassettes. But that technology was stifled and hidden and basically made illegal for the common man to have it.
It's called the DAT, Digital Audio Tape Recorder. The key word here is digital. That capability to record perfect copies has made the DAT the object of one of the most bitter fights since the movie industry was up in arms over the issue of home taping with VCRs. The president of the Recording Industry Association of America, Jay Berman.
It is a very dangerous machine unless it's controlled in some way, and the rights of the creators are protected. The Japanese have a wonderful product that they've created here. It's so good. All we want to do is fix it up a little bit to ensure that when people use it, we get paid for it.
It's my right. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not breaking the law. It's my right to go and borrow a friend's album and tape it if I want to. It's my right to tape in my own home as long as I'm not going to open up a record store and sell these copies. It's just for my own personal listening. What's wrong with that?
I think it's terribly wrong because it denies the people who create the music, record the music, and write the music the opportunity to sell it to you. You enjoy it, you want to enjoy it, you want to listen to it, you ought to pay for it. The fact that it's taking place in your home is irrelevant. Robbery takes place in your home. That doesn't make it good.
If there are good records being made out there, aren't people going to buy them no matter what?
Sure, and they're probably going to tape them as well.
Why, in your opinion?
Why? Because there are 300 million of these being sold a year. This is a blank cassette. When you buy it and put it in your machine, all you're going to hear is sss. Why are people buying 300 million units of sss? Why? So they can copy our music on it. More people are listening to our music than ever before. They're just not paying us for it.
So not only does capitalism have an incentive not to innovate, it is incentivized to stop innovation in its tracks. Like I said, capitalist innovation is essentially a big lie. Okay, but if that's true, then why is it that capitalism created amazing things like GPS and touchscreen cell phones and the internet? Capitalism may have created a few problems in the past by not going towards green energy, but today electric cars and hybrids are being sold all over the capitalist world. And let's not forget that capitalism created Google, Amazon, and even cured coronavirus with its new vaccine. You may hate Pfizer and Monsanto, but they've done more to save people's lives than you, socialism, or any publicly funded organization ever has. Actually, I would say that none of that's true, and it's interesting that you would bring up socialism and public funding, because that's really where most of those innovations came from. Like I said a moment ago, capitalism isn't able to make innovation with the tools that it has, but that says nothing about where it got the tools in the first place. It turns out that most innovation that happened in science and technology happened through public funding, and not capitalist industry at all. GPS, touchscreens, the internet were all advanced by the Defense Department. Tesla's electric car batteries came out of a Department of Energy grant. Google's search algorithm was boosted by a National Science Foundation innovation, and many of the new drugs that have been saving lives over the last few years have come out of NIH research. And that doesn't even mention all of the scientific and technological innovations that came out of socialism itself. Outer space exploration, medical advancements, engineering and architectural innovation. They even created one of the most durable and long-lasting firearms known to man that has been replicated and re-replicated again and again, proving again that when you innovate based solely on accumulating more profit and more money, then what you end up with is innovations like pumpkin spice Twinkies and 567 different brands of toothpaste, instead of innovating towards green energy, healthier food, and a better future for all. And interestingly enough, when an innovation under capitalism isn't in direct conflict with the ruling class's interest, it ends up being in direct conflict with the working class. For instance, every time a worker is replaced by a machine, it doesn't reduce the amount of work that everybody must do. It ends up leaving that worker without the means to acquire the goods and services they need to survive. So I would question the premise that capitalism even creates innovation in the first place. And as far as anarchism goes, If the incentives were not to make more money, but to advance human flourishing and make life better, then innovation would be one of the primary goals. Instead of fearing automation, we would embrace it. Instead of wasting all of our energy creating Darth Vader-themed toasters, we would find new ways to use our labor and resources in an efficient and beneficial way for everyone in society. At least, that's the way I look at it. Check out the links in the description box below. Have a nice day.
Let somebody come along with a duplicating machine with some super duper recording machine and super duper cassette, and you'd be able to push a couple of buttons and inside of 20 minutes there'd be a brand new Mercedes 87 or 88 Mercedes in your driveway or a Cadillac. You want to see some people get up in arms quick about copyright infringements and about somebody not getting paid for their product?
Just when you get a fix on this latest controversy about the latest technology in the home electronics revolution, comes word that in the wings already is a compact disc machine you can record on. And the hits just keep on coming.
Something's coming, something good, if I can wait. Something's coming.